right, party people, welcome into our Sports Burst studios. Messi has spoken. We take a look at his exclusive interview with Sport, where he discusses Barcelona's Champions League chances and how Lautaro Martinez is similar to his BFF, Luis Suarez. Then we hop on the transfer train. That Dybala-Neymar swap rumor has us laughing, but Serginho Dest's link with the Camp Nou has us very excited. Thomas Rongan and George Gimetellus are in the house to discuss. Plus, we debated if Michael Jordan, who the Michael Jordan of the soccer world is, that is. And now we ask who the Dennis Rodman of the soccer world is. This is going to be a good one. Sports First starts now. Alrighty, so you guys let us know who you think the Dennis Rodman of the soccer world is, and we're going to get to that talk later on in the show. Let's welcome in George Gimetellus and Thomas Rongan to the party. Hello to you both. Happy Friday. And I want to begin with Lionel Messi because we always have to begin with Lionel Messi. He has spoken exclusively to Sport, and I want to first begin on his comments about the Champions League. So when asked to clarify some comments that he had made earlier in the year about Barcelona's Champions League hopes, he has said, and now I'm quoting, I think the coach didn't understand what I said or what I wanted to say. It was explained poorly to him. What I said was, playing as we did in those final few games before football was suspended, of course we wouldn't win the Champions League. I never doubted the squad we have, and I don't doubt we can win everything that's left, just not playing as we were playing. I want to first begin with you, Thomas. As a coach, would you take this as a dig from one of your players?
It's very interesting, Gabby, that in August he came out before, I think, a game against either Boca or River in preseason and promised the fans, first time that he really came out as the captain and said, we will get the UCL title this year. Fast forward to February, after Barca Gate, after Arbidal threw him under the bus, he said again, we're not good enough right now. And he's also, if you read in between the lines, he's talking about Setien's style and the way of playing, that this team currently is not good enough to win the UCL. So it's very interesting that Messi's become more and more vocal in a lot of areas. We also know that obviously he's got a hand in transfers and has a very strong opinion about certain things, but clearly doesn't sound like a happy guy, and it's a dig at Setien that said at one point in time, we're going for the double. I'm convinced we will the Champions League and La Liga, and Messi obviously is saying the opposite. Very interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and just like you said, we have seen a more vocal Lionel Messi over the past few months, and really, well, since the beginning of the season. George, I want to send it over to you. Do you hear these comments, and do you take it as a dig to Quique Setien?
I don't necessarily take it as a dig to Quique Setien. I think that he is backtracking a little bit to piggyback off of what Thomas said and what Messi said earlier in the season. So I think he's trying to backtrack to say, hey, fellas, to his teammates, I really didn't mean it like that. I don't think he meant it anything toward Quique Setien. And I'm surprised by the comments because when you think about the Champions League this year, there isn't one team that's that dominant that you say, okay, this is the team that looks like that's going to win the Champions League. To me, this Champions League was very wide open. Juve didn't look dominant. We saw Liverpool get eliminated by Atletico Madrid. So it was still wide open. And for him to say that, it looks like this recent comments, it sounds like he's backtracking a little bit and that he doesn't want to make it look like he's throwing his teammates under the bus. And it's a shame because there was no one team that looked like a true Champions League contender this season before everything got halted.
George, I'm going to have to disagree with you. You really don't think that PSG looked like the Champions League favorites heading into this latest round of the Champions League?
Well, they had an impressive group stage, yes. But Dortmund was giving it to them.
And then they gave it right back.
Business. And remember that, and they gave it right back. But we don't know who they would face in the next round. We don't know how they would respond. Remember, this is a team, a club that traditionally in the quarterfinals crashed out. So we don't know what was going to happen. To me, it was still wide open. PSG looked the strongest, but they didn't look like absolute title contenders, or not title contenders. They didn't look like absolute title winners, like it was their trophy to lose, that they were head and shoulders above everybody else. They had a fantastic group stage, but when it comes to what would have happened in the quarters, we don't know who they would have faced. Maybe they would have gotten to a Barcelona, and then Barcelona carved them up. You never know. So PSG looked good, but I don't know if they were the head and shoulders above everybody else.
Fair enough, George. I do want to hit the comment section before I ask you if you guys agree with Messi's comments. If you think that
right
he
now,
is not.
If you
go ahead, Thomas. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I think there's 3 or 4 teams clearly ahead of the rest, and that's Bayern Munich still, Manchester City, PSG is in that group as well, and I put right now Atletico to have a better chance to win it than Barcelona does, because he talks about the brand of football that we're playing. Now, the brand of football of Atletico right now leads itself to, and let's be real honest, the Champions League might be one game, not home and away, just one game that the brand of football of Atletico, cynical as it is, not giving up goals, might have a better chance than the supposedly fluent kind of attack of Barca with a porous defense. I think Messi is right, and it is a dig at the brand of football of Kiki Setien.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they move forward in the Champions League. Go ahead, George. Do you want to respond?
No, I just want to say that, look, all those teams that Thomas mentioned, they might be better in form heading into the quarterfinals or whatever stage, the knockout stage of the Champions League. But are they head and shoulders? Are they clearly that much better than Barcelona? I don't think so. I think it's still a toss-up. And I think that, yeah, there might be slight edges here and there, but in the end, Barcelona still had a legitimate shot to win the Champions League. So I don't think Messi should be saying stuff like that.
Yeah, Messi did go on to clarify that everyone has their own opinion and all opinions are respected. This is a little cheeky from him. Mine is based on being lucky enough to play in the Champions League for many years, and I know it's not possible to win it playing the way that we were playing. So he does seem to kind of reference his experience and say, I know what it takes to win the Champions League, and we just don't have it, or I just didn't see it the way that we were playing. I want to hit the comment section. Kevin Gaschiola saying, I'm 19, who's Dennis Rodman? All right, Kevin, you have the next 10 minutes to Google and pick up some information, and then you let us know who the Dennis Rodman of soccer was. Your picks are phenomenal. I cannot wait to get to this topic, but we're going to stick with Messi, and we're going to talk Lautaro Martinez. When asked about the possibility of Lautaro Martinez joining Barcelona, Messi said, and I'm quoting again, he's a really complete forward. He's strong, he's a good dribbler, he scores goals, he knows how to protect the ball. He has a lot of similarities with Luis Suarez. They both use their bodies well and hold the ball up. We'll have to see what happens with him and the other names that have been linked. If I'm honest, I don't know if talks are underway to sign him or not. Number one, you're lying to us, Messi. We all know that you know if there's talks going on because no one gets signed unless you approve. That's just my take. George, your take on his statement?
Well, when you consider what he said about the club not trying enough to get Neymar, I think after that point, they were like, all right, Messi, we're going to put you in and make sure you know everything that's going on. So when he's saying that, he might be bluffing. But, I mean, he described it perfectly. If he feels he's watched Lautaro Martinez with the Argentine national team and on television as well, he's played with Luis Suarez, so he understands their games, then it's going to be a situation where he would love to play for him and it'll be a good fit. So Messi described it perfectly. I don't know if I could add anything onto that from what Messi said.
Thomas, would you agree? Do you see similarities between Lautaro Martinez and Luis Suarez as outlined by Messi?
Without a doubt. And we've had a lot of forwards being rumored to Barca, be it Aubameyang, who's a lot older, but in the short term could be an option. Timo Werner has been mentioned as well, somewhat similar to Martinez, but Martinez is the most similar to a Luis Suarez, for instance. Low center of gravity, knows how to combine with other people, which Messi likes, obviously lethal in the 18-yard box. But with all this talk, the price only will go up. And I'm telling you, Barca's got to give up a lot to get Martinez. And in my opinion, yes, you look at Griezmann, you look at even Braithwaite right now, Suarez back healthy probably, Messi up front. I feel that Barca needs reinforcements in the back more so than going forward. Scored more goals than anybody else in La Liga, is up there in the UCL again. Messi on fire, and with an underperforming Griezmann, I'm not so sure. I think at the end of the day, we might see Messi finally hugging Icardi and winning La Liga, the UCL, and Copa America and the World Cup, embracing Icardi again and says, you know what, you made a mistake, but you're mi amigo. I would like to see Icardi at Barcelona and with the Argentinian national team, with Lautaro Martinez, ripping up the world.
That is a bold dream, because I don't think that it's ever going to happen. George, as much as we would like to see that happen, do you see it in the future?
Icardi to Barcelona? I don't know. I mean, Icardi to Argentina is very ambitious. I mean, for a long time, there's rumors that Messi froze out Icardi because of that whole Wanda Nada love triangle nonsense, whatever.
Correct.
But it would work. I could see them playing together. I don't think it will happen. I don't think Messi has gotten over what happened between those two. But it would work. I'd like to see that happen if he can't get Lautaro Martinez. Icardi is an interesting fit. The issue I have, though, is how much work is Icardi going to do outside the box? Now, I know with PSG, he's done more and he's improved in that area. But with Barcelona, he's going to have to do that work. If you're going to fill in for Suarez, you're going to have to put in that work to do some hard work in the midfield and hold up the possession. Don't know if Icardi is going to do that or want to do that, but it is an interesting scenario that Thomas puts out.
People in our comment section are discussing this Lautaro Martinez move. Juben Karama, if Martinez comes to Barca, he's going straight to the bench. They won't bench Suarez because Suarez has like 2 good years left. Lautaro needs to go to Real Madrid. Number one, that's bold. Juben, don't think Lautaro is going to Real Madrid. Word on the street is that it's Barca or he's staying put at Inter. 2, a lot of people suspect that Luis Suarez's time at Barcelona is coming to an end. He's even been linked with the likes of Inter Miami. Then again, who hasn't been linked with Inter Miami? But perhaps we don't necessarily have another 2 years of Luis Suarez at Barcelona. Thomas, your take on Juben's comment?
I'm not so sure. I think this pandemic has helped certain players. Luis Suarez being one of them, really being able to take care of his rehab. And I'm telling you, injuries like that, I've seen it with players, older players that have played for me. Marco Echeverri at the same age as Suarez, due to a lengthy layoff, so to speak, and rehabbing and working even harder than you've ever done, you become sometimes stronger and fitter because you're not just working that particular area of your body that is injured, you're also doing upper body work, you're doing core work as well. Luis Suarez will come back rejuvenated, with a long rest, sharper in terms of his physical conditioning, that I wouldn't surprise that we see another 2 years at Barca. And if he's the starter, George is right, and some other people that commented, does Martinez want to sit on the bench? Absolutely not. So those are all considerations that agents and players need to make when they go to big clubs, when there's a lot of competition, and you might not be number 1, you could be number 4 or 5 on the depth chart. So that's very important as well.
A lot of people in our comment section also referring to the fact that when Messi wants a player to be brought to Barcelona, that player usually ends up at Barcelona. But that wasn't the case with Neymar, which is the next transfer rumor I want to discuss. This one gave us a little bit of a chuckle, but we are going to talk about it just to discuss how outlandish it is. A Neymar and Dybala swap is reportedly on the table that would see Dybala go to PSG and Neymar go to Juventus to link up with Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, this one I just don't really see happening because there's been rumors that Dybala wants to stay put at Juventus and sign what would essentially be a lifelong contract with the club. I don't think that Neymar would essentially like to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo because of his allegiance to Messi. What do you make of this rumor? Does it give you a little bit of a chuckle, George?
It doesn't give me a chuckle. It gives me one of those six-pack abs laugh workouts. I mean, that's how much of a comical this is. First of all, if Juve really want Neymar, or PSG should ask for Dybala, a couple other players, and about 200 million euros in order to get Neymar, in order to make that deal work. I mean, it's funny. it's good fodder for people who like the transfer talk and those rumors like that. But Dybala is nowhere near the class of Neymar. And don't forget, let's say Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo play together. Remember, both of them prefer playing, or at least starting out on the left side. So they're essentially playing at the same position. Now, maybe you could switch both of them to opposite sides. We know that they're both very talented. But that could be a little bit of an issue going forward. But the fact that Dybala and Neymar have been discussed in a swap is hilarious.
It is hilarious. Is it hilarious to you too, Thomas?
Yeah, just from a coaching standpoint, George is absolutely right. The favorite starting position, both for Ronaldo and Neymar, is in that left zone up high. And then from there, either play make centrally or get to goal. And you look at Neymar, Ronaldo, Higuain, Cuadrado, Costa. I'm sure that George will know of another forward. There again, you're looking at 6 guys, and 3 of them are going to be very unhappy. I don't think Sarri wants to do that. And at the end of the day, Dybala is really the only true number 10 that Juve has in midfield, that can play make a little bit. Pjanic is more of an 8/10. Pjanic's production is just a few goals and limited assists. And if you look at PSG right now, in that midfield right there, not necessarily Dybala's position, but you got to find 3 guys in midfield, basically. You got Dybala, Di Maria, Verratti, Paredes, Draxler, Marquinhos that has played in midfield as a number 6, which will push somebody else out as well. Gaye as well. Sarabia can play out of that midfield position. That's 8 guys to make 3 eventually. So it wouldn't make any sense for either Tuchel or Sarri to even engage in this transfer.
I tend to agree with you, Thomas. Peter Munoz Jr. saying Neymar and Ronaldo work very well together in FIFA 20. If only life was like FIFA 20, right? And Mustafa Gabur bringing up a great point. Isn't Neymar, and he's speaking about the money side, isn't Neymar worth 125 million and Dybala is like 75 million, so the money is off? You're absolutely right. Neymar currently valued at 140, Dybala valued at 80, so you're just about halfway. There have to be some money involved, and we all know how this pandemic is hitting clubs very hard financially. So Mustafa Gabur, great point also. A rumor, though, that isn't making us laugh, it's making us quite excited, is Serginho Dest linked with a move to Barcelona. Now, his agent has spoken about this rumor, and he said there's no concrete interest. Barcelona has sometimes inquired about Serginho's situation, but that was it. Barcelona has not reported to me and not to Ajax. But Thomas, for our viewers who maybe don't watch Ajax week in and week out, what type of player is Serginho Dest, and would he fit at Barcelona?
He potentially could. But by the way, he said when he was young, I spent some time with him when he played for the under-17 and the under-20 U.S. national team, went to World Cups right there, now part of our senior national team, chose the U.S. over the Netherlands, obviously. At 19 years old, he's always said, Barca is my dream team. Similar to Frankie de Jong said, Barca is my dream team, because there's similarities between Ajax and the Barca philosophy, although that has changed over the years, and Setien is trying to get that Cruyff, Pep Guardiola kind of football back again. I also spoke to his agent, Hughes Blackburn, and Hughes said categorically no interest. We've not heard anything, club or myself, from Barcelona, but he said Bayern Munich and Tottenham right now are showing a lot of interest in the 19-year-old right fullback. That's one of the best attacking young fullbacks in the world. In February, Bayern showed interest. They talked money as well. That soured a little bit, but I'm telling you, Tottenham and Jose tactically would be great for Serginho Dest. Look at DeAndre Yedlin. What happened to him when he went to the EPL as a right back for Newcastle? The experience is there. There's a need for a right fullback at Tottenham. We all know that. So it will be very interesting to see. I don't think Barca is on the cards, or Dest would be better than Semedo, by the way, but I don't think he's ready yet to step onto that great stage in Barcelona under that kind of pressure at 19 years old.
Right, and it is a lot of pressure and maybe a little bit too much too soon. George, I want to send it over to you with those 3 clubs on the table, Bayern Munich, Tottenham, or Barcelona. If you're Serginho Dest's agent, where would you advise him to go?
Well, I'd advise him to stay at Ajax a couple more seasons. You're talking about 3 very big, high-profile clubs, and we've seen, if we're talking about specifically teenagers going to big clubs, Ousmane Dembele, how's that worked out for him at Barcelona? I think he should stay at Ajax a couple more years, get the seasoning, and then make the move to Barcelona. Because look, Thomas mentioned it. He's better than I think he's going to be long-term better than Semedo. Do you want Sergio Roberto to be your permanent right back? I don't think so. They really don't have another option outside of those two. I know Tottenham need a right back, as Thomas mentioned, with Sergio Aurier, really the only one. Bayern is a great fit. I think Bayern is a big club as well. But you don't want to go to Bayern when you're 19. You still, give him time to develop a couple more seasons in Ajax, which is one of the great clubs in the history of mankind when it comes to developing young players. Spend a couple more seasons there and then make the move. I would either, me personally, 2 years more at Ajax, either Bayern or Barcelona. But if I had to pick one of those two, go Barcelona, because it looks like they need a right back more, and that's his dream club, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. I want to shout out Eric Krakauer in our comment section making dad jokes left and right. Barcelona is Serginho's destiny. Someone read Sports Burst, the written version, written by our very own Tim Stannard in the morning with that joke. Eric, we love to see that you're so obsessed with us that you even hang out with us on your days off. I want to get to the fun stuff. Who is the Dennis Rodman of the soccer world? Now, for those of you that maybe don't join us on a daily basis, we had a debate. Who is the Michael Jordan of the soccer world? And many people, it seemed to be the unanimous decision was Cristiano Ronaldo. So if you guys didn't join us in that debate, go ahead and comment below and tell us who the Michael Jordan is. But today we want to shift gears and go, who is the Dennis Rodman? George, you're up first. Who is it for you?
Well, first of all, let me just say the 19-year-old who said, I'm 19, I don't know who Dennis Rodman is, that's not an excuse. When I was 19 years old, I knew who Wilt Chamberlain was. Okay, I didn't have internet back then either. Come on, man, get up on your history. Okay, now to answer the question, it's Arturo Vidal. And Arturo Vidal is the Dennis Rodman of modern day football because, one, the eccentricities. You talk about the hair, the tattoos, so there's that part of it. 2, he's a winner. Remember, he's won domestic titles in Chile, at Juve, at Bayern. He got a La Liga at Barcelona, and then obviously the back-to-back Copa America titles. Dennis Rodman, 5 NBA titles, 3 with the Bulls and 2 with the Pistons. And also, these are guys that do not need to score in order to help their team become champions. I mean, Dennis Rodman has a ton of games with 0 points and then 25 rebounds, and they win. Vidal is the same way. He doesn't score a lot of goals, but he does the hard work in the midfield, either going forward to help the attack or to stay back, play defensively, to help the team become a champion. So that's another aspect of it. And then one more thing. Dennis Rodman, when he played, had one of the hottest women on the planet as his girlfriend in Carmen Electra. Okay? Arturo Vidal, have you seen his girlfriend now? Is a Colombian fitness model named Sonia Isasa. Google it. You're welcome. When you have all those things in common, you are the Dennis Rodman of modern day football.
In our comment section, Clayton Brown also agrees with you, George. He says that Arturo Vidal would be his Dennis Rodman. Thomas, who's your pick? And then I'm going to read all of your picks because some of you guys picked really good ones. Thomas?
Early March, I watched the under-20 women's national team qualify for the World Cup. Yeah, that was this year. And there was a girl out there that scored 2 goals and had 2 assists. One of the goals, by the way, on a rebound. And yes, it was Dennis Rodman's daughter, Trinity Rodman, who's, by the way, the #1 high school ranked forward in the nation. Courted by UCLA, but I think is going actually to Washington State. A star just like her father, obviously. But with all kidding aside, she is quite a talent, better skill. I take Nangolan for the same reason that George just mentioned, outside of the fact that I don't think he's got a girlfriend that's the standard that George would normally like. So
I don't think that's
Nangolan
relevant
is
anyway.
my choice for the.
I do want to hit the comment section.
comparison.
I want to hit the comment section and see what everyone's saying. Mo Sadi, Dennis Rodman is certainly Balotelli. The guy has a statue of himself in his apartment. Balotelli is also a favorite. Andrew Cantura, Adriano, or Ronaldinho. Good picks. A lot of people saying Dani Alves, maybe a Sergio Ramos. I read the Dennis Rodman as someone you want to have on your team, but you hate when other teams have him. He does the dirty work, and I think we nailed this comparison game. We do want to let you guys know that tonight we have the latest edition of Clásico at Home beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. George Metellus, Eric Krakauer, and myself, we're going back to May 2nd, 2009. Yeah, that treble-winning Barcelona side in their second Clásico of the season. You guys won't want to miss it. And also, of course, an edition of Sports First PM, where we're covering the Bundesliga from top to bottom, and we'll also give you an update on Serie A and the Premier League. We'll see you at 7. Bye.